What's going on, YouTube? Subaru has been making crossovers long before they were the in thing, and it has built a very loyal following of people. Now, fast forward to 2019, and we're standing here with the 5th generation, which has all the modern upgrades that people demand, but without reinventing the wheel. Of course, we do want to especially thank our friends at Quantarell Subaru for providing us with this fully loaded Forester Touring. And if you're in the market for any new Subaru, be sure to stop by their dealership or visit them via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with that said, let's go ahead and see if this new Forester has further expanded its appeal. So getting started with the exterior, it is a clear evolution from the outgoing model. The grille, for instance, is almost exactly the same shape, but the chrome and the inside texture are slightly different. The more substantial difference is in the lower grille, where all the black has been expanded upwards to make it look more rugged than before. Now this year also sees the introduction of a new sport trim, which changes several things from the other trims, like the blacked out grille and orange accents all around the vehicle. Turning to the headlights, they also look practically identical to the last gen, except that these LEDs are now standard on all models instead of just being on the Touring. And finally, on the bottom, you'll find fog lights on the top 3 trims, as well as an excellent 8.7 inches of ground clearance on all the trims. Going around to the rest of the vehicle, again, most of the changes are very conservative, but you will probably notice the biggest styling update, which are the new taillights. They've got an interesting boomerang design to them now, and some of the lights within the housing are LED. Dropping down, this bumper area is fully black on most models. However, the Sport would have an orange accent, and this Touring gets the silver surrounds. So overall, Subaru didn't mess with success much when it comes to the exterior styling, but the changes they did make were for the better. Now, as far as the wheels are concerned, they have changed thoroughly from the outgoing model. Every trim gets their own design. So on the top 3 trims, you have 18-inch alloys in 3 different styles. Then dropping down to the premium gets you 17-inch alloys, and the base model 17-inch steel wheels. Heading on up to the mirrors, you'll find body coloring and heating on all but the base model, and auto dimming is available via popular package 3. Additionally, the limited and up includes standard blind spot detection with rear cross traffic alert. And on the topic of safety, the Forester's excellent eyesight safety package has gotten even better for 2019 since it's now standard across the board. That means even the base model will have pre-collision braking, lane keeping assist, and adaptive cruise control. Additionally, high beam assist is included on the Sport and up, and this Touring also comes with rear automatic braking. Those taken together with its top safety pick plus rating makes the Forester certainly one of the safest options in the class. Finally, all but the base model will come with roof rails, and every Forester has a 16.6 gallon fuel tank. That's good for 481 miles of range on regular unleaded fuel. But anyways, that's it for all the exterior changes. So now let's go ahead and get inside and see the all-new cabin. So on the Forester, you do have Subaru's smart entry system on the Sport trim and up, or it is optional on the premium trim. You can also remote start via the StarLink app. And then of course, to get inside, all you have to do is grab the handle because there is a sensor behind it. Alrighty, so checking out the cabin of the all-new Subaru Forester. As you can see, it shares a lot of the same styling characteristics as many of the other Subaru models. Now there's going to be quite a few different ways you can equip this interior. So on your base, through your Sport trim, the seats are going to be cloth, and then on the Limited and Touring, you're going to get real leather. And then as far as your color options, there's a lot of different ones. So on your base and premium, you're gonna have black or gray cloth only. The Sport though is gonna go with a gray cloth with special orange accents. Going out to the Limited gives you black or gray leather. And then on the Touring, like this one, you've got the option of black like we have, or an exclusive brown color. Now turning over here to the door trim, it is very nicely appointed. As you can see, you've got a leather material that goes all the way down through here with a nice stitching detail through it. And then it additionally goes all the way up to the very top for you to rest your elbow on. We do also have kind of a faux carbon fiber trim right through here. Now your front two windows are one-touch automatic, and you will find two-person memory seating on the Touring trim only. Coming down to the seats, you will find these 10-way power adjusting seats on all but the base trim with manual seats. And then like I was saying, we do have the real leather. It feels very nice, and it does have a really attractive stitching and perforation design. So like I said, the actual styling of the cabin is pretty much in line with all the other Subaru models. And the materials are also in line with those models as well. So across the upper dash, you do have a soft touch plastic with a nice stitching detail through it. And then here on the Touring at least, we've got this textured leather, as well as the extra leatherette patch right here. Additionally, we do have some more leather trim that comes all the way down through here for your knee to rest against. And everything in here fits together really, really well and really solidly. On the Sport and up, just press the button to start. When you do, you will see this 8-inch display fire up on most of the models. However, on your basic trims, you do have a 6-inch display instead. Now checking out your gauges here, they do have the typical Subaru design. So you've got analog gauges and then a 4.2-inch multi-function display in the middle. This does contain some basic information. However, you'll find that most of the information is actually located over here at this 6.3-inch display that comes on the Sport and up. For this, you'll just use the info button on the steering wheel, and you can cycle through different things like your safety system, some off-road modes, just tons of different things, even the weather. And you'll also notice another little thing here, that black sensor across the top. Now that is on the Touring only, and that's the new driver focus system. So basically that's actually monitoring your face. So if you look away from the road or get distracted for more than 3 seconds, the system will remind you to pay attention. And if you become unresponsive, it can actually stop the car completely. Now moving back to the steering wheel itself, of course you do have electric power assisted steering, and you will nicely find a leather wrapped wheel on all but the very base model. You have your standard fare buttons up here for your phone audio and voice commands. Then over here you got your buttons for your adaptive cruise control, as well as your drive modes. Here on the Touring trim, the steering wheel is also heated. And the wheel itself will always be manual tilt and telescoping. Now, one of the Forester's signature characteristics has always been having more interior space than you'd expect from the outside, and that does carry over for the 2019 model year. So turning over here to your console, you can open it up, and you do have a little removable piece right here. But then underneath of that, as you can see, it is very deep, and you do have a felt lining down at the bottom as well. Additionally, there is a 12-volt outlet inside. Then in front of that, you've got a little shelf here, which will be good for setting your phone, 2 cup holders, and then another giant bin up here in the front, which does contain another 12-volt outlet, 2 charging USB ports, as well as an aux jack. So overall, as you can see, there is a lot of storage. Now Subaru was able to do that without going to an electronic shifter that some of the rivals have gone to. So for this, it's very simple. You just pull back for drive, of course, and then you can bump over here to the left to shift manually through the 7 simulated gears right here, or via these paddle shifters. When you go into reverse, you'll find a standard backup camera across all models. There is no 360-degree option, but as you can see, this is a very clear system. You do have the active trajectory as well. And then at least here on the upper trims, the mirror actually tilts down to show you the parking lines better. And then back behind the shifter, you do have an electronic parking brake as well as a brake hold feature. And over here next to it, you will notice this knob labeled X mode. This, of course, is a system, like in all other Subarus, that basically just optimizes the powertrain, throttle response, all-wheel drive system, all types of different things, just for whatever circumstance you may find yourself in, mud, dirt, or just a normal mode. And then over here we do have the 2-stage heated seats that comes on the Sport and Up. However, there is no ventilation option on any trim. Now moving on up, the next stop here is the climate control. Now for this all-new Forester, you go to an automatic climate control setup no matter what trim. However, it is single zone on the lower trims and dual zone on the Limited and Touring. So as you can see on this one, you can just adjust both sides independently, and when you make those adjustments, it will show up here on this secondary display. But I do like how simple it is, because everything is located nice and easily right there. And now that brings us up here to the audio system. Now the Forester does come with 3 different setups. You've got 4, 6, or 9 speakers. So the base model is 4 speakers. Most of the trims come with a 6-speaker system. However, on this Touring only, we have the standard 9-speaker, 576-watt Harman Kardon audio system. So let's go ahead and take a sample of that. I have to say, sound quality of this system is excellent. But anyways, that now brings us up here to the Subaru StarLink system. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. So like I said, here on the Limited trim, you do have an 8-inch display, and then you've also got some physical controls underneath to help you control it. So you can press the home button to take you to this page, which is filled with all of your applications. Going into your apps, this is where you'll find a lot of different things, but most importantly, you'll find Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now these do come on both the 8-inch display and the 6.5-inch displays on the lower 2 trims. That more or less covers all the highlights of the Subaru StarLink system. But of course, we do have a detailed, in-depth tutorial available for those of you who want to find out more. A link to that video is provided in the description. Moving on up, you will find a frameless auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes built in, and this is actually an option across all of the trims. However, one really impressive thing that is standard on almost all of the trims is this panoramic moonroof. This is, like I said, standard on all but the base model. As you can see, it is giant, and almost the entire thing opens up, so I'm really impressed by this feature to be included on almost every model, even the basic affordable models. And overall, I'm really impressed by the Forester's cabin as a whole. Subaru continues to nail all the important aspects, ergonomics and functionality, And now it's even taken a big step up in luxury as well. Now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason, who will finish up the rest of the cabin.
Coming around to the rear seat of the 2019 Forester, you're going to find a really large amount of space for its class. You'll find 39.4 inches of rear legroom and 39.6 inches of rear headroom, which does actually make it larger than the Subaru Outback, as well as most of the competitors. Now turning over here to the door trim, on the Touring model it is finished super nicely, so you do have a leather wrapped armrest with stitching details going through the bottom, and even here on the top portion it is leather wrapped, and you have more stitching going through here, as well as some sideways stitching. Now additionally, your window is power here in the back, and you do have door storage down in the bottom. Now the seat itself can also recline on this model, and it does have the same perforation as the front seat with some more stitching. Now here in the center, the Forester is really well equipped, so all but the very base model will come standard with these rear vents, and you will also find plenty of features. So on the Sport trim and higher, you will have these 2 charging USB ports, and on the Touring trim, you will also find 2-stage heated rear seats. Subaru does also give you an armrest, it does fold down, and it even has some black piano trim around it. Up top you have a dome light, as well as a really nice headliner, and an assist grip. I do also want to point out that the panoramic moonroof really does help air out the cabin back here. It makes you feel like you have a lot more headroom than you actually do. And as far as rear space is concerned, like I said, this is bigger than most of the rivals and even the Outback. So behind Drew's seating position, I probably have 6 to 8 inches of rear leg room, and my feet can easily slide up under the seat. So overall, I am extremely impressed by the all-new Forester's rear seat. It really checks all the boxes off in terms of features, and it does have plenty of space in addition to that. Now, the Forester's rear seats do also fold 60-40 split, so all you have to do is locate this little tab and pull up. Now coming around to the tailgate of the Forester, it is power on the Sport trims and up, and you can option it onto the Premium. So just push this button under the lid, and it will open right up. And once inside the trunk of the Forester, you're going to find a really large amount of space once again. So you'll find 35 cubic feet behind the second row seats, and that expands to 76 cubic feet with them folded. Now like I said, that is larger than most of the rivals, so this is a really big offering for the class. Now Subaru does also finish it really nicely back here, so you do have a cargo cover, and in addition to that, you do also have some hooks here on the side to hang stuff, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. Now you will also notice that on the Touring model you do have these rear buttons, and these electronically fold the rear seat, and like I said, this is exclusive to the Touring trim. Now under the floor you do also have some more storage, so just locate this little strap, and under the floor you have plenty more storage. Now coming over here to the passenger seat is that same lovely design, and it is also 8-way power adjusting here on the Touring model. Now in front of the passenger we do have a nice stitching detail going through here, and you do also have a little leather area here, and down below that You have a glove box that is decently sized. It is not felt lined though. Up top you do have a sun visor. It does have a mirror and light, and it can also detach, and it has an extension here in the end. Well guys, that sums up all the rear areas of the all-new Forester. So now let's go ahead and take it out on the road and see how the powertrain performs.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain and fuel economy. Now, interestingly, the all-new Forester actually simplified the powertrain lineup from the outgoing model, so you no longer have the turbo engine or the XT trim level anymore. All the models now are equipped with the 2.5 liter Boxer 4-cylinder. That makes 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque, which is up 12 horsepower over the last generation. All models are also equipped with the Lineartronic CVT, which has 7 simulated gear changes. And of course, that is also paired with the standard Xtronic all-wheel drive system. All that together makes for very impressive fuel economy. So you're looking at 26 city, 33 highway, 29 combined, which is one of your most efficient products in the class, but it's definitely your most efficient all-wheel drive model, since of course, like I said, all models do come standard with all-wheel drive. But anyways, now let's go ahead and take it for a quick test drive. Now one of the things that's interesting about this Forester, this is actually the first Subaru with an auto start-stop system. So of course that's been out for a while, but This is the first Subaru to have it. So let's see if it's they've taken that extra time to really smooth it out. Oh yeah, that's very good. So first taking off in the 2019 Forester, power feels pretty good right off the line. This is, instead of like a really small turbocharged engine, of course this is a decently sized naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and that does, it feels more responsive than a lot of those really small turbos, which can suffer from lag. I want to commend Subaru for their steering going around that corner there. They've done an excellent job. It definitely has more feel than the average thing in the class. It's also more progressive, so you don't have so much numbness and stuff like you can find in some of the competitors. They don't even feel like they're connected, you know? And that beeping there was your lane departure warning, also another helpful system. When you cross the double yellow, of course. I don't know if you can see on camera, but this road is pretty dilapidated. And very impressive ride quality, though. There's really no harsh intrusions or anything. It's very isolated.
Yeah, it's very quiet inside this cabin. Like you said, this is a very, very, very rough road. Lots of road noise in a normal vehicle, and the Subaru does take it very, very well. It almost feels like a luxury car, almost.
Yeah, it's very well dampened. Definitely your focus here is going to be on luxury, smoothness, and comfort in this car. Yeah, I think the engine feels plenty powerful enough. And this does have a CVT, of course. But you don't feel any type of CVT lag. They've done a good job of tuning that out.
Yeah, I mean, no car in this class is really going to feel that powerful. Maybe the CX-5 Turbo is definitely the most powerful one in the class, but this is right in line with all of the competitors, and like Drew said, the CVT is not bad at all. So I think that most people in this class, they're not really all that concerned about the driving dynamics. They want it to be comfortable. I really don't think the average consumer is really going to notice the difference here. Now we should have 7 simulated gear changes. I think that occurs in your sport mode. So I'll go ahead and activate the sharp driving, as Subaru likes to call it. We'll see if we can get the simulation going here. Definitely in this mode, your throttle is going to be a lot touchier. And that does remind me of something I do want to mention, and that is how much better the throttle response is compared to the outgoing generation. Because one of the things I noticed in the old model was how sensitive the throttle was all the time. It was very hard to modulate a smooth takeoff from a stop, and they've definitely fixed that. If you want the feeling that's closer to the outgoing model, then you can go into the sport mode. It's definitely a little bit touchier. And also, riding along here, it is worth noting that the Forester has absolutely excellent visibility. That's one of the first things that we noticed in this car when we got in. Honestly, it feels like you're sitting, we described it as a greenhouse, because there's so much glass around you. You can really see absolutely everything. I mean, even these quarter panels here, I mean, there's glass everywhere, so you can see absolutely everywhere of this car. And that's a really nice feature to have. Yes, it is amazing. In comparison, now everything has to be more and more stylish and more swoopy. And it's refreshing that Subaru really put ergonomics first in this car. Now I imagine most of you won't be doing that, but Subaru has included a manual mode and paddle shifters for good measure, so if that's your jam, then go ahead and do it. But overall, I like the package that Subaru has created here. Like I said, this is kind of like the king of practicality in a sense. It's very spacious, very family friendly, very ergonomically friendly, but at the same time they also didn't make the driving experience like a penalty box or anything. It's very pleasant, very comfortable to cruise around in, and also very fuel efficient, as we already mentioned. The most efficient all-wheel drive crossover in the class. So as a family vehicle, which is what this is intended to be, Subaru has really nailed it. So as far as the pricing is concerned for the 2019 Forester, you are going to find it right in line with most of the rivals, if a little bit cheaper than some of the newer offerings like the RAV4 and stuff like that. Now you will find the starting price for the 2.5i base model at $24,295, which is about $2,000 more than last year, so that's worth noting. Now if you want to move up the trims to the premium, that's going to run you $26,695. The Sport's going to run you $28,795. The Limited is $30,795. And finally, you have this model, which is the fully loaded Touring, and that comes in at $34,295. And as all of you know, that you do have, of course, standard all-wheel drive, which pretty much all the rivals make you pay extra for. Yes. Now, as far as this particular Forester is equipped, there aren't really any option packages or anything to add to the Touring, but we do have the Popular package, which throws in a few commonly wanted accessories like the auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink garage door openers, and LED upgraded lighting and stuff like that, and that is $947. We also have crossbars on the roof, and that's $201, as well as a rear seat back protector for $93. And then when you add in the destination charge of $975, this particular model as equipped is $36,511. And that does come in quite a bit cheaper than some of the newer rivals, which, like the RAV4, you can really top $40,000 in that model. So this is a little bit cheaper than some of those models. So if that's what you're looking for, the Forester might be a good option for you. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching this in-depth review of the 2019 Subaru Forester Touring. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.